All right, back with Lacrosse Today podcast. We had a little hiatus, but we're getting that consistency back and getting back on here to chat a little bit before we head overseas.
Yep, the European Championships are just around the corner. We'll be coaching Team Poland in
I got my
less than 5 days. So exciting to be back on the grind with Team Poland. I'm actually flying tonight. I know you're flying in about a week, and then the opening game is July 9th, Poland versus Czech Republic.
how's your packing coming along?
You know, it's coming. This is like, so I got a couple phases. That's the post Poland surf trip phase right there with all the
Got it. Okay.
board
Okay.
shorts and the rash guards and the supplements. But the phase one is done. I've got all the equipment, 3 big equipment bags packed up out there,
Okay.
full of sticks, helmets, gloves, arm pads, everything for mostly donations for Polish lacrosse and then some stuff that the boys ordered for me to bring over for them. So
Got it.
phase one is done. Phase two is in the works, and then we'll be good to go.
Nice. Nice. Well, I guess we're going to start. Just going to touch on the PLL and the WLL. Have you been able to catch any PLL games this summer?
I've seen a couple, just kind of in the background as I've been out and about a bit, but mostly I've just been kind of keeping tabs on the highlights. I see it's coming up on my feed a lot on Instagram or what have you, but unfortunately I haven't really been able to sit down and crush a game, which I'm sure I will at some point this summer, just because the skill and the lacrosse level is pretty incredible. One of the storylines I just saw was Marcus Holman broke 500 points, so I believe he joins. He's the 6th to do that. So I think it's Casey Powell, John Grant Jr., Joe Walters, and then I'm missing 2. But it's some pretty elite, probably Paul Rabel.
Right.
Some elite company. So, cool to see Marcus Holman. He's a Boston Cannon, coach's son. And he scored a pretty insane goal earlier this year, too. I don't know if you saw that one grabbed the ball off the end line and just
Yep.
backhand diver off the post and in. But he's
Up.
cool. Yeah, it's nice to see him hit that milestone, because he's just a high IQ, accurate shooter, great passer, kind of like attackman's attackman. I've always been a fan.
Yeah. The that reminds me of the I also saw the I haven't I'm kind of in the same boat. I haven't caught a ton of games. I think what happens to me is I end up start tuning in as we get towards the end of the season, and seeding and playoffs start happening. Like, that's, I think, when I start to watch more of the games. But same as you, I've been watching. There's been some awesome highlights on the feed, like on the run BTB, which is like something I've never seen before. And then just guys like scoring through the legs, like, it's just the skill is crazy. But I also saw that they signed a 5-year broadcast deal with ESPN, which is really exciting. So just a lot more visibility for the sport in the next 5 years, which I think is great.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's, they're on ESPN top 10 constantly, I think, with the high-flying, exciting plays. Rob Pennell was the guy I left out. He just broke the all-time assist record. I think he broke
Okay.
Ryan Boyle, who's the commentator now. But back in the day, Ryan Boyle was, I think, a 4-time All-American at Princeton. And, he played for the Bridgeport Barrage and then the Boston Cannons. Also was really good indoors, too. So Ryan Boyle, he's a legend. So Rob Pennell, I think, surpassed him for the all-time assist record last week, too. So there's records being broken.
Yeah. And it's also the WLL, the Women's Lacrosse League, is going to have I guess it's kind of like the championship series. They have like kind of like a shortened um, tournament thing that they'll be doing during the like All-Star weekend, which I think is super cool. I think it's also smart how they're kind of starting small and they're slowly like building up. I think that's a good move on the part of the Premier Lacrosse League. But it'll be cool to see because I wasn't really sure. I thought they were going to have a full season for the women this summer. I didn't really know how the Women's Lacrosse League was going to work, but it'll be exciting to see some of those plays, popping up on our feeds now as well. Because since for Lacrosse the Bay running girls programming, it's nice to have some stuff to show the ladies some love too. Because I mean, when you get Charlotte North out there and some of those goalies, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of awesome plays that happen.
Yeah, been loving the girls lacrosse. I've always kind of been a fan, to tell you the truth. Just it's such a high skilled game, and I think with the recent technology change in the sticks, it's
Mm-hmm.
become a little bit more exciting for the your average fan. They're doing some more stuff, shooting harder, throwing the BTBs, and yeah, I love the sixes for the girls. I think it's
For sure.
I'm not sure if I'm a huge, I kind of wish for the guys, to be honest, the Olympic lacrosse was like a full field 10v10.
Mm.
I think sixes is cool, but for the girls, I think it's like, it's fitting for the game.
Yeah, I think so too. Right? It's shortened. Their shot speed is like it works out with the sticks. Like, I think works out well for those dimensions. The guys, it's like shoot at 110 miles an hour. There's
Yeah.
like as a goalie, you don't have much of a chance. Whereas the girls, right? It kind of the big rub I think with girls across in the past, especially in the full field, is it's been stop and go, and um, you also the nets are moved back either 5 or 10 yards on either side, so the field is even longer. So there's just so much space between goals.
Yeah.
I think just that sixes format, it's so much better. And you get because it showcases the skill of women's lacrosse so much more,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Definitely.
It's good stuff. So it's summertime, summertime for lacrosse, and that means a couple different things for non-professional and non-college athletes. And so I've been kind of in summer camp mode, and you've got some players doing the summer recruiting stuff. Maybe we could touch on your what some of your high school players are going through in the summer recruiting process.
Yeah, those guys are, for the most part, they're playing for their club teams, and they're out on the grind, hitting a different tournament almost every weekend. I think the way it works is it picks up kind of like early to mid June, usually July 4th weekend. You got that one off, and then it finishes up like late July, maybe early August. So these kids are playing for the Tomahawks, four leaf, 3D, fighting clams, all the main select, main muscles, all that stuff. So they're out there, playing for their teams, getting in touch with coaches. Coaches are watching them. And then, there's these prospect days too. So if, you're really interested in a particular school, you go to their prospect day. Coaches get a closer look at you there. So, yeah, there's a bunch of York Wildcats out there on the circuit. Hopefully they're having fun. I know it's like, a little bit of a pressure situation. You're trying to, you got these places you want to go play at. They're watching you, but at the end of the day, I think that summer lacrosse, I remember it being pretty fun when I was playing. This was 2006, 2007, but it's kind of cool. You get out there with some kids from different areas and different schools. You get to meet some new people and play with some new people, and usually raise your game, get better, have some fun, go play some good competition. So yeah, the summer circuit is no doubt in full swing. I think most of them, the kids that play high school for me, were down at the Bryant Brawl over this past weekend. So
What tends to be do you have any idea like what tends to be a better outcome for them, like the weekend tournaments or the prospect days? Like what's your pulse on those?
Yeah, it's like those coaches can see you anywhere. I think it's good to have a club coach that can advocate for you a little bit. Those
Mhm.
guys are usually pretty tied in with college coaches. I'm playing the role of high school coach, getting in touch with coaches and that kind of thing. But I do think there's some value to playing for a club team. You get some good exposure. Usually your coach is tied in with the recruiting process. I think if you're really good, you maybe you don't even need it. You can just go to a prospect day and show up. But I think it's if you got the time and your parents can make the investment, it's probably a good move to do both. Play for a team and do at least a couple of tournaments. And then
Mhm.
if you got a school or two that you really like or are interested in, you can kind of circle those and get out to a prospect day or two.
I feel like some of those prospect days too could be good, where it's like, it's like, oh, I really want to play at Duke, and then I go to the Duke prospect day, and it's like, okay, maybe I'm not this level, or maybe I am this level. You can see where you stack up with a lot of those guys. It just like, but Duke is an example of a school that everybody knows. Like, you could do that for any one of these schools, and then go and even like have that conversation with a coach where it's like, yeah, you are you are this level, or you're not. I think that was one thing. I remember when I was playing summer lacrosse, I had a list of schools that I handed to my coach, and some of them were unrealistic, and some of them were realistic. But there wasn't really a candid conversation between me and my club coach. I'm sure more of those are happening now because I think that process is a little bit more formalized. But I think understanding, where what a good target is for you as a player is it can be helpful, because I think sometimes people really want, that Division 1 pedigree, like they want to be able to tout that. And the reality is a lot of times there are a lot of, players who can make it in a Division 1 school, but the reality is that they'll probably thrive at a Division 3 school, and so having those conversations and understanding where you stack up, I think is helpful. So
No doubt, no doubt. That Division 1 grind serious. A lot of it too is I think staying healthy and just how bad you want it. Because I think I've had players and friends that have been successful and unsuccessful at D1, and a lot of times the ones that do well there are really committed, hardworking, and a lot of it's kind of between the ears. And
mm,
I think it's just a notch up on the competitive scale for sure.
yeah, yeah, the battle between the ears rages on. So we just finished our Stevenson overnight camp a week or two ago, and we had talked a little bit about kind of our experiences with overnight camps, and I guess it went really well. I think some takeaways that we had was like how much lacrosse is too much lacrosse, and I think that varies for boys and girls. I think for the girls side of the camp, changing it up a little bit for them is something that we'll probably do next year, whether it's like going to the beach to play lacrosse or something else. I think for the boys, we push them like just to the limit, but I think you get 6th to 8th grade boys who are on their own for the first time, and staying overnight, and it was kind of like, let's just tire these guys out so they don't really have any energy at the end of the day, and I think that worked out well too. Um, we were fortunate to have enough players where we were able to make like 4 teams at night, and kind of like duke it out and uh, do some, yeah, like some bracket stuff, like pool play, all that stuff. Each coach, um, we have a bunch of college players, some high school players, but each of them got to coach a team, just kind of like our experience at Top Gun, which was cool. And then we didn't really have many goalies, so we had a lot of college guys playing goalie. So you had the same college guy playing goalie, and then also like a college coach, and so the teams would just duke it out in the evening, and it was super fun. For the boys, and then the girls did some scrimmaging, but it would be awesome, at some point to get it where you're kind of at the same, level, or like you kind of running the same kind of programming. The one thing that I wish we did, and I remember that was a thing at Top Gun, where it's like an attackman could try and go against a college
Yeah.
defenseman,
Yeah.
or like a college defense, or vice versa. And then they also had like the goalies would hop in the net, and they'd have like the college guys shoot on them.
Yeah.
And so that was something that I'd like to incorporate in the future. And then another thing that I think was a real highlight for the camp was for the boys. We need to get more like college girls players next year, which is something I'm going to work on. But we did a demo where the college guys were just they were playing 4-on-4 against each other, and that was like the kids loved it, and then also the college guys, like some of them don't necessarily know each other, so after they kind of played against each other, it was almost like an icebreaker, and there was kind of this mutual respect, and then they were just kind of really, I mean, the rest of that session there was just such great energy. So just those are just a couple takeaways.
Sounds like it went pretty well.
It was great. We had 92 kids total. It was awesome. We've been partnering with Nike, which is nice to get the swoosh on some stuff. I think that's good. So, and then in Stevenson's it's such a great facility that the more we can leverage it, it's great. And then we got some day camps coming up. Love the day camps. It's just, I think I'm just, for kids who are, fourth through, eighth grade, just any type of camp is just such a good way to just get tons of repetitions and learn the game and learn from great coaches. So I'm a big supporter of that type of program. So
I think we got to take this pod international, Sky. I think we got to get one post tourney over in Poland.
Absolutely.
Maybe get Kajetan on there or somebody.
Oh my God, yeah. Or we can do like kind of like one of those live podcasts where different people just like pop in or something like
Pop
that.
in. I like it. I like it.
Speaking of which, we got as we round third here, we got the Euros coming up. What's the what do we got? How are we feeling?
We'll see. I mean, it's like these tournaments are pretty cool because you don't necessarily have a good read on who you're playing, which makes it exciting. I think any sport, the international stuff is got a different feel to it. Everybody's playing for a country, and it's not necessarily like you guys are practicing all the time together. I mean, this team that we've got, I'd say 90% of the guys know each other well and have kind of been to battle together, which is good. So I'm feeling good about where they're at in terms of team chemistry and all that. And then we're gonna have a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. We're gonna have 4 days of camp, and then we're gonna play a game. So I'm excited to get out there and get working with them. And it'll be just an awesome tournament with all these countries coming together to play against each other. So it's a special thing. The international lacrosse, it shows you how many different places are playing the game, and it's intense, and ELAX TV on YouTube if you feel like tuning in. It's going to be live streaming here for the next starting July 9th all the way up till the 19th. The gold medal game is the night of the 19th. So throw it on, tune in. It's going to be some good lacrosse.
Yeah, we got it's definitely it's a pressure cooker. It's like 9 games in 10 days. It's a lot of lacrosse, but like you said, it's you get all these different countries in one place, different people representing different flags, and yeah, it's something in the lacrosse community that I hadn't experienced, and when I did, I was so glad to be a part of it. And I think everybody who's involved feels the same way. I think that's one of the cool things is everybody's just there's the competition is everybody's competing, but everybody's also on the same page in terms of representing their flag and wanting to also grow the game beyond the North American borders.
No doubt. Big lot on the line too. Top 7 finish is what everybody's gunning for. I guess a gold medal is what everybody's gunning for, but top 7 gets you to the next World Games in Japan. So should be
All
good.
right, let's
But
let's get it.
yeah, we'll run this back. We'll get an international pod going. I'm gonna be traveling after that, but I think we should still get some pods in this summer. Marty K is the one we need. He's told me he's down to come on, so we gotta rope him in.
We'll get them.
We'll get him. Maybe when I'm in Australia. Marty K did a year in Australia, so we can. That'd be good. We can channel his past from Australia and get him on.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah.
All right, well, there we go. Next stop, Poland.
See you, everybody. Yeah, man. I woke up this morning. My